Hi, this presentation is on Pharma OTC Regulatory, a simplified overview. The presentation will cover the benefits of OTC products to consumer and healthcare system, benefit of OTC products to pharma companies, classification of OTC products, switches or reclassification of OTC products, marketing authorization, pricing and reimbursement of OTC products, umbrella branding, distribution and advertising for OTC products, and regulation covering all these topics on OTC products. Now, coming to benefits of OTC products to consumer and healthcare benefits, or benefits to healthcare system. OTC products play an increasing vital role in healthcare system. It is well recognized in EU and US that to balance the budgets, the responsibility of healthcare system costs needs to be shifted to individual consumers through OTC products. OTC medicine are increasingly important to healthcare system by leveraging low cost OTC products and reduce cost associated with the fewer physician visits because of OTC products. OTC segment delivers billions of dollars of value or saving of billions of dollars to healthcare system annually. Benefits to individual consumers include increase access to medicine through OTC products and increase affordability of medicine through OTC products because OTC products are cheaper than prescription products. Consumers around the world rely on OTC products for treatment and prevention of variety of common conditions like headache, cold and flu, allergy, heartburn, and dermatitis. Benefits of OTC product to pharma company because discovering and developing new chemical entities is a difficult and costly challenge to pharma companies. And large pharma companies have traditionally leveraged OTC products to provide stable and consistent revenue stream. OTC are an attractive area for companies because drug substance are well established and product registration is simplified without the need for clinical trials in many cases. And this is especially true for herbal medicines, which can be registered by demonstrating adequate safety and efficacy based on existing literature in public domain. Switching from prescription status to OTC product is allowed in many countries, including US and EU, and it is one of the key strategies used by companies for product life cycle management. The practice is used by innovator companies to widen the footprint of a product once it has lost the marketing exclusivity. In EU, once the legal status of medicinal product has been switched to OTC, it is possible to advertise the OTC product to general public, and same is the case in many other countries. Classification of OTC products. Generally, pharma products are classified as prescription or OTC or non-prescription categories. Non-prescription or OTC categories are further classified either as pharmacist only status, means which can be dispensed only by the pharmacist, they are not available for self selection, and OTC products with pharmacy only status, means these products will be available only in the pharmacy. Third category, general sales list status products. These are the products which can be sold in pharmacy as well as in general sales stores. Some other categories which are mentioned in regulations are herbal and traditional herbal products, homeopathic products, food supplements, vitamins and minerals, and medical devices as OTC. OTC switches means switching of or reclassification of product from prescription to OTC, which is called OTC switch or OTC or a reclassification of product as OTC. So OTC switch from prescription can be done either by ingredient or API specific switch, which is allowed in many countries. And for ingredient, there is a monograph system which has been established in US and Canada. The regulatory agencies in these countries, they make ingredient specific product monograph, and all ingredient which are having monograph, they can be marketed by company, or they can be applied for marketing as OTC product. Second category is switch by product, mean formulation specific switching. It is allowed in many countries. And third category switch is switch through both product as well as by ingredient. Some countries allow switch through API or API switch or formulation specific switches. Both categories are allowed. Coming to market authorization of OTC products, in many countries there are no differences in procedure to authorize OTC product and prescription products. In USA, FDA has devised two pathways. One is OTC monograph system, which considers well-established ingredients. So FDA, they establish the monograph for well-established ingredients. And once the ingredient is having a monograph, any company can apply for that ingredient as OTC. Second process is NDA process. These are for products that are outside the monograph system. Means for ingredient for which there is no monograph, they are considered as new drug. So company has to apply its NDA or new product application. For those drug requiring NDA, either as direct to OTC product or switch from prescription to OTC status, the content and format of application are similar as required for prescription drug approval as NDA. And registration requires clinical proof of efficacy of the proposed OTC medicine. Most countries, OTC medicine needs to have long clinical history of use as prescription medicine. In many countries, they require the product should be used in a country at least for 5 years as prescription medicine. In Canada, for certain categories or ingredients, they have been marketed for a long time and they have been recognized as generally safe and effective. And for those ingredients, the agency has established monograph system. And if the ingredient is having monograph, then there is simplified abbreviated approval process. There is abridged procedure or simplified procedure for well established efficacy and safety products. In EU, the EU regulations applies. In Romania, the products with vitamin containing more than 3 times the RDA or recommended daily allowances, and product with minerals containing more than 1.5 times the RDA, they are registered as medicine. If the quantity of these ingredients is less than the mentioned quantities, then they are classified as food supplement. And for food supplement, the approval process is simple and abridged. Combination products, they need to show the efficacy of entire combination with scientific justification. Requirements in US, OTC must have a wide margin of safety that they are used directly by consumer. So FDA will approve only those ingredients which are having wide margin of safety. The following are some of the typical characteristics required for a OTC product registration in USA. The product can be safely used without prescription based on long history of use. Mean it should have long history of safety. Consumer can appropriately self-select the product based on OTC label, which is supported by label user testing. The potential for misuse or abuse of product should be low. The benefit of using product as OTC should clearly outweigh the risk. These characteristics are there, then it may qualify for OTC registration. Required elements of US NDA to support OTC label. Different requirements are safety and efficacy data requirement. The additional studies may be required for OTC product if the proposed OTC dose or indication are different from the prescription product. In that case, additional clinical studies will be required. Second requirement is proposed labeling. The label is directed to consumer with words that are easily understood. That means the OTC product label should be simple, which a layman can understand. And there are standard format for label for OTC products. It should have ingredient, name, purpose of the product, use or indication of the product, specific warnings, direction of use, and inactive ingredients. Next is label comprehension studies. These are series of consumer research studies in which individuals are asked to read the label and answer the question, which will test their ability to read and comprehend the label's key message. In these studies, drug is not administered. Next requirement is self-selection studies. These are also consumer research studies in which individuals are provided with label and asked the questions to determine whether the drug is appropriate for them to use. In these studies also no drug is administered. Next requirement is actual use trials. Actual use trial is a open label study conducted under simulated OTC conditions in which subjects are provided with the drug to determine their ability to follow the label's directions of use and warning, etc. In this type of trial, consumer can purchase the drug, take it home and use it without physician supervision. Coming to regulations in Europe for OTC products, Article 70 of Directive 2001/83 EC provides two classification of products: medicinal products subject to prescription and medicinal products which are not subject to prescription, which are OTC products. There are strict regulation for framework for OTC approval. There is also simplified traditional use registration process for traditionally used products. There is also bibliographic application process in which this published scientific literature is used in place of animal and clinical studies to get approval of ATC products. So one need to submit the published literature on efficacy and safety for that product or ingredient. Normally, active substances which are suitable for supply without a prescription should be in widespread use for at least 5 years as prescription product. Means before approval as OTC, the active ingredient should be in market at least for 5 years as prescription medicine. Then only it qualifies for OTC switch or OTC approval. Most non-prescription or OTC products are approved through national marketing authorization. Mean in each country individually these country approve the OTC product. But there is also centralized procedure to get approval of a product as OTC for designated European countries, in which case one has to apply to the European Medicine Agency, which will evaluate the application and will approve the product as OTC, which qualifies. But if the application is made through centralized procedure and if it is refused or unsuccessful, then one cannot go back to national phase application in each European country. Then it will be refused there also because it has been refused centrally. EU legislation, that is Directive 2001/83 EC, provides for 1 year data exclusivity period also in EU in case there is a switch of prescription medicine to OTC medicine. If that switch requires preclinical testing, clinical testing, and that preclinical and clinical testing data is submitted with the application. The regulations also allow advertising to general public of OTC products in all media. Pricing and reimbursement framework of OTC products differs widely in European countries. Requirements in Italy: OTC should meet the following requirements. The composition or the active ingredient or combination of active ingredient with safety and efficacy have been largely demonstrated. Means the product should have been used widely for at least 5 years in one of the EU member countries as prescription medicine. The indications should be for symptomatic relief, for minor and temporary ailments. The route of administration should be simple. The injection products and all products which are requiring intervention of healthcare professional are excluded and they cannot be approved as OTC product. The dosage of OTC products should be within the safety limits. Dose per dose and per pack should be within safety limits. Pack size should be small and suitable for short time treatment only. Requirements in UK. In UK, OTC products are classified in two categories: pharmacy status or P status and GSL, general sales list categories. Pharmacy status products or P status product, this should not be available for self-selection, and these are available only in pharmacy, dispensed or supplied by the pharmacist. GSL status product that can be sold in the general sales stores without the service of pharmacist. New medicine are usually authorized as prescription only medicine, which can later be classified as P status, that is pharmacy medicine, and which can further be reclassified from P to GSL or general sales list status after they have been used safely for several years. Key elements of reclassification or approval process for OTC products. Before submission, one has to compile the application and one may require the preliminary scientific advice meeting with MHRA, the regulatory agency in UK. And second step is submission of application and assessment of application by MHRA. And third, last step is decision, approval or refusal of application by MHRA. Pricing and reimbursement for OTC products. In most countries, OTC products are with free pricing and not reimbursed. But in some countries, prices are regulated. OTC medicine prices are controlled, like in Israel, Greece, Belgium, Spain, Switzerland. The prices of OTC products are controlled. And in Cyprus, the price regulation applies if OTC product is costing more than $10. So different countries they have different regulations for pricing of the OTC. Reimbursement of OTC products. In few countries, OTC products are reimbursed if they are prescribed. Countries are listed. But in some other countries, switching of medicine from prescription to OTC status may lose the reimbursement status. Once they are switched to OTC product, they are not reimbursed. So different countries they have different regulations on reimbursement of OTC products. Now coming to umbrella branding. Umbrella branding is use of same or similar brand name for a category of products. And umbrella branding is allowed in many countries for some of the below given categories. Like umbrella branding can be used for OTC product which contain the same ingredient and also allowed for product containing different ingredient. And umbrella branding may be allowed in same therapeutic category or different therapeutic categories. Umbrella branding may be allowed for both prescription as well as OTC products. Now, distribution of OTC products. Point of sale for OTC product is either in pharmacy or drugstores or maybe in non-pharmacy outlets like general sales outlets. Different country they have different regulation for point of sale or distribution. Food supplements, vitamins, mineral preparation, they can be sold in pharmacies, grocery stores, supermarkets, and other retail stores as per the regulation of the country. Regulation on self-selection or self-service. Self-selection, self-service allowed in some countries. and it is not allowed in some other countries as listed in this slide. Product display regulation, it is allowed in many countries. Distance selling of OTC product allowed in many countries, and some country have specific restrictions on distance selling. Sale over internet is allowed in many countries, but the distance selling may not be allowed in certain other countries as listed in the slide. Coming to advertising, regulation on advertising of OTC products. This may relate to media regulation, comparative advertising regulation, use of sample regulation, use of celebrities in advertising regulation, and in all the advertising of OTC product, there is a mandatory message in advertising. Media allowed for OTC product, it can be print, TV, radio, internet, and some static media like cinemas. Comparative advertising allowed in some countries as listed in the slide, and it is not allowed in certain other countries as listed in the slide. Use of samples is allowed in many countries, but it's not allowed in some countries as listed in the slide. Use of celebrities in advertising, it is allowed in some countries like Canada, China, Israel, Mexico, Thailand, and US, and it is not allowed in certain countries like Austria, Colombia, Venezuela, and Switzerland. Mandatory message for advertising of OTC products is read the leaflet carefully. If symptoms appear to worsen, then consult your doctor or pharmacist. This mandatory message is required in advertising of all OTC products, and it's required in almost all countries. Advertising regulation for OTC products, there are different types of advertising regulations. It can be either pre-control, that is before advertising, control of advertising material, post-event surveillance, self-regulation by industry, co-regulation by industry as well as regulatory agency, and regulation by government on OTC product advertising. Advertising to healthcare professionals, in many countries, the rules for OTC advertising to healthcare professionals are same as for the advertising of prescription medicine. That's all in this presentation. Thank you very much.